or any of the staff therein, but are solely expressed by, the caller or Nicholas Owerinoye, the analyst. Good morning to you. I am Adeyemi.
And I'm Danielle Shitta-Bey. Thank you for joining us.
And Nicholas joins us live this morning. Good morning to you, Nicholas.
Good morning.
And thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
It's a good Thursday morning.
Yeah.
And, the budget and the 2025 appropriation bill is taking the center stage when it comes to conversations on trending stories this morning. So.
Definitely.
Yeah, the president, like my partner just said, has submitted a budget of 49.7 trillion naira, the highest in the history of the nation so far. Should Nigerians be optimistic or concerned?
Well, normally, when you make a budget presentation, there is high expectation because before the budget comes out, there is always an economic lull across the state. The only state that can function without a national budget is Lagos currently. That is because it has an economy that is quite different from every other, economy across the country. So definitely, there should be some level of anticipation and excitement, because especially in the area of infrastructure development. You are talking of construction companies, because that is where they lay out the amount of money. Then in the areas of, stock trading, banking, finance, and things like that. So exactly where the money will be going into and where to invest. So definitely, there should be some excitement.
Now, this budget is titled Restoration Budget, Securing Peace and Building Prosperity. Do you not think some of the appropriation to some ministries, departments, and agencies of government truly reflects the tag for this 2025 appropriation bill?
Yeah, in a way. When you look at in terms of he talks about security. That is I think you have security there as one of the list. So you look at the where you have the humongous budgeting. You have it in security and security and defense. Taking a large share of because that area has a multifaceted implication for the economy. It's going to impact on agriculture. It's going to impact on investment. It's going to impact on infrastructure. You understand? Because when you secure, when there is a lot of peace, when there is peace, when there is absence of insurgents like you have banditry, kidnap, and the rest of them, then of course construction workers can go back to site. Then farmers can go back to work. Then investor confidence can be restored.
Now, do you think that budget tag again reflects the true situation in Nigeria at the moment, going into 2025?
Well, you see. That is on the surface, yes, because those are the issues that we are talking about. What exactly is affecting the economy? What exactly are our concerns? Insecurity, economy. So definitely, the projections that he has made in the budget appears to capture it. But when you take an in-depth look, we haven't, what we have currently is just a summary of the budget. The budget is a huge document. It's a huge document. So in the next couple of months, we are going to be talking extensively about it, because you now start seeing different items, whether it truly reflects what the president has said he has presented. So, in fact, already there has been responses. The opposition party have come out to state that, it doesn't inspire hope at all. They have their reasons for saying that. And when you look at what they said, they said that, look, at the deficit, the huge deficit, where it's going to get a loan from, means that the federal government is going to depend heavily on taxing, and which is quite worrisome if you ask me. It is quite worrisome. It's an observation, So we need to still look at the fine points of the document, of that budgetary document, to know exactly whether, there is reason to be hopeful or reason to be, despondent.
All right. So two parameters contribute to significantly to the current state of our economy. That's foreign exchange and the price of fuel. Right. So now, with the government expecting the naira to trade against the dollar at the rate of 1,500 naira, what sort of economy should Nigerians expect in 2025?
Yeah, you see, if we are able to reduce it, it will significantly impact on a lot of things in the country. Don't forget that, like the issue of fuel, for instance, we tend to think that when we sell it in naira, it's going to be cheaper. No, let's not forget that most of the ingredients that you still use for oil are imported, and you need dollar to do that kind of, most of the equipment that you use for, manufacturing and things like that, you still have to bring them in by dollar. So if the budgetary expenses, the budgetary, that is running the budget is able to reduce, the current 1,700 to 1,500 per dollar, then definitely it's going to be good for the economy. It's going to be good for the economy.
Okay, so despite the current high value of the metrics that are determining the economy at this point, the government is still boasts of reducing headline inflation to 15%.
Well,
is that achievable?
It's a tall order. That is the fact. Because you see, the thing about Nigerian, the inflationary trend is that when it goes up, it never comes down. That is always the problem. You understand? Then, of course, you would have expected in the areas where we have a comparative advantage, like agriculture, you understand? We are talking of huge expanse of land and things like that. Instability, insecurity is taking a huge toll on the activity. So at some point, you just feel that anywhere we are supposed to make gains, we make losses. Look at over the years, in the last couple of years, in the last 5 years, the federal government, in cohort with unilateral organization, have been expending money in de-risking the mining sector. I think the last figure I had was about 17 point something billion million dollars used to de-risk the mining sector. But what do we have now? After de-risking it, you now have all this banditry. You have lithium, illegal miners, Chinese all over the places. So at some point.
All right, Nicholas, let's take this contribution. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Oh.
All right, please note that you can join the conversation at any point. Give us a call on 0807 777 9927. And please note that you have a minute to make your comment. Go straight to the point. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and make your contributions. Straight to the point, please.
Also note that we're streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook, and it's on Facebook at FloFMNG and on YouTube at FloFM927. You can get in on the live action happening in the studio right now.
All right, we're still on the 2025 appropriation bill. There's some people who just want to call the budget. Yes, it's before the National Assembly. And let's look at, that budget, American 4.91 trillion naira for defense and security. If you look at that, so let's take it one at a time. 4.91 trillion naira. I think that's going to be the biggest they've ever gotten in that ministry, or in that sector rather. And then, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede said yesterday that the Army will invest in modern technology. And then off of the conversation we were having yesterday about kidnapping and over the years, why haven't we deployed technology? Is it coming at this time? Is this going to be a reality? Knowing fully well that defense has always taken a huge chunk of the budget from the Buhari administration up until this present administration. In fact, from the Jonathan administration.
Yeah. You see, well, the intention is quite good. When you look at it, the intention is quite good. Now, but there's something we need to understand, please, and which is that to budget certain figures is quite different from achieving that budget.
Very true.
The performance at the end of the day, because most times, it has to be cash backed. Budgets are just projections that if we get so amount of money, we are going to spend so amount of money on so place. So what if there's shortfall of revenue? Are we going to achieve that? And don't forget that over the years, we have always had a deficit in our budgets. So that is ceteris paribus, all things being equal. If that happens, then I think it's going to be very, very positive, because it is not only in the area of security. It's going to have it, like I earlier mentioned, it's going to have a multifaceted implication for various sectors, like in agric, like I said. Farmers really need to go back to farm. That is the simple truth. Then, of course, in the area of, there is the other huge chunk where the budget is going is infrastructure development. Workers need to be on site. So you cannot have that when there is insecurity, a threat of kidnaps and here and there, because by the time you pick one or two expatriates, it raises the tension everywhere. It becomes an international incident. Then they are all over the places. You send the signal that Nigeria is not safe. So that is the thing. So, yeah, if military hardware, security infrastructure and hardware.
Hold on, Nicholas, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Welcome to Headline News Analysis. Good morning to you. Review.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. We can hear you loud and clear. Thank you a lot. What's your name, please, and where you calling from?
My name is My name is Ayobami.
Your name is Ayobami. Where are you calling us from, Ayobami, this morning?
I'm calling from Tanke.
All right, Ayobami from Tankia. So what's your contribution to some of these stories discussed this morning? All right, so please, this is the headline news review, and that's where we analyze some trending national stories that we brought to you at 7 o'clock. We'll pick a few of them, and we're discussing the National Appropriation Bill 2025 before the National Assembly has submitted there by the president. We were having a conversation earlier before that call came in. Please, let's continue, please.
Yeah, like I was saying, when you put in a lot of money, we are talking of a huge, spending on military infrastructure, hardware. And things like it comes with a lot of funding. That is, you can only achieve that with a lot of funding. And the truth is, like we mentioned, we've said countlessly that we are poorly equipped. The army is poorly equipped. The soldier, the police are poorly equipped in tackling insecurity. So definitely, yeah, that spending, it's quite appropriate, especially at this time, because we are talking of geospatial, for instance, geospatial imaging. To get across, to know exactly where the positions of these bandits. Modern day warfare is not just about it's asymmetric. It is not the symmetrical kind of things where, okay, you stay here, I stay here, then we lob bombs at each other. No.
You don't know the location exactly.
You don't know the location.
Move around, yeah.
You spend money in intelligence. You spend money on, knowing the locations. In fact, most times now, most of the sorties that is being carried out are being done by drones, not mostly by pilots these days. So that is what we are saying. So I think that kind of a budgetary, allocation to that sector is quite appropriate given the circumstance we find ourselves in the country.
All right. So you talked about the agricultural sector not long ago, and it got about 800 billion naira and ranked about 4th or 5th in a sector with the highest allocation in the budget. Now, with about 40% food inflation and skyrocketing prices of food at times, we're talking about chicken and onions yesterday. And are you surprised with the allocation given to the agricultural sector?
No, I'm not. I even expected it to be more. I expected it to. They should rev it up to 1 trillion or thereabout. But there is one significant thing that I read about, that each University of Agriculture will be given 1 billion. To realize their core mandate of, that is quite
University of Agriculture.
University of Agriculture across the country. They'll get 1 billion to, especially to be put in cultivation. That is quite innovative and creative, if you ask me. Because, we have been saying it for a very long time that our universities need to be universities. You understand? University is not a secondary school. It is not really a school. It's a research where you do researches and you market them. So if we have, agricultural universities, so what are they doing? So that is where you should have the best of practices in the areas of farming. So give them money. Let us see what they can do. Only last year, was it earlier, during the last farming season, Kwara State Polytechnic generated how many tons of maize, you understand, and put it in the market.
I saw the story.
Yeah. It was a very big one. And we are talking of almost 10% of what maize that comes into Kwara was realized, and it was just a minimal effort. So that is what we are saying. It's like trying to pluck the low-hanging fruits, and which is quite good. Like I said, that is equally okay too, because we are talking of food inflation at 40%. It is way too high. We've been saying it here. Onions for 200 naira.
300
Palm oil. I read. I saw the statistics again yesterday. Palm oil is on the high side now.
Groundnut oil as well. It's
way
high.
Have you taken note of tomatoes?
That's another one.
It's frightening.
So virtually, that's why it's scary to be at 40%, really.
Honestly. So
especially for the spirit.
It is unhealthy, to say the least. It is very, very unhealthy. And I don't know what it's going to be like in the next couple of months.
Especially in 2025. What's the faith of Nigerians and, the common man, the lane man, to be able to afford food in 2025? Because the rate of poverty due to the recent increase has is surged, and the country cannot agree further increments to the price of food.
Honestly. And, you are talking about food. What of health? You understand? Because
now health is taking about 2.48 trillion naira for the very first time. We're hitting the trillion naira in the health sector.
Yeah, but again, you see, when you compare it in terms of what is the minimal recommendation according to AU, Abuja, the recommendation is 15%. Is it up to 15%? The answer is no. So then do you know what, the average consultation for health, that is the average fee, that is according to estimates, that it costs 10,000 naira at the very least, 10,000 to 15,000 naira to get, minimal health care in Nigeria. That is the baseline estimation. How many people can afford that? How many people can afford that? So that is the reason why I think that is rather low. Because you see, when you talk of development indices, that is those things that those are the things they use to rank you whether you are developing or not. They are education. They are education, health, food, infrastructure. Infrastructure is not even but these days it's more like it. You understand? And of course security. But you see, health and education. They take the highest stake in measuring whether you are developing or not.
And does that truly, with this, appropriations, does it reflect the?
It doesn't.
It doesn't reflect it.
It doesn't.
Again, then how come we have, just like it, we have security, we have infrastructure next, taking a huge chunk, we have health, we have education, about 3.5 trillion naira for the very first time.
Okay.
Again, we're having 3.5 trillion. The call has always been there for us to increase funding some of these, sectors. Now that we are seeing some of these things, how do we implement them to truly reflect these appropriations?
Well, cash, it must be cash back first. That is it. That is, if we want it to truly reflect. Then, of course, you see, there are leakages too. When you see, now, when I said that, when you have a budget proposal, there is excitement. It means for those who should legitimately be excited, and those who are looking to scheme the country, to scheme the money. Of course, you have unscrupulous people too who are going to be there. So that is what we are saying. See, some of the reasons why you don't really get result is because most of these things, you have budget padding. Don't forget, we are still going to have that issue. We haven't even started yet, too. So those are some of the issues that are going to come up. So these are some of the reasons why we don't even get the results of as small as it is compared to the standard, the benchmark. This is why we still don't get result. I was Mr. Biggs. I think it was one of their officers, one of the real owners of Mr. Biggs came to Nigeria in 2005, and he was saying something about, how they do it in all these, this big Walmart, what's this, Kentucky Fried Chicken, all this big, when they make estimation, they leave a gap for stealing. They will tell you that, look, when you say you are going to do 40 laps of chicken and sell 40 laps of chicken, they make it close to 60, 80, laps of chicken, because it is so it's so that they know that somebody might just pick it and just eat it while cooking, and things like that. They know, they make provisions for things like that, so that they now build the cost on you. That's what makes it expensive. So I'm just giving a summary of your hair. So budgetary thing like that, you see. There is going to be, no matter how tight it is, there will be leakages. But how well have we planned that, okay, this is our expectation, if we should be able to achieve this target. So how do we plan to achieve that target, having in mind that no matter how much we plug the leakages?
Now, there is also this budgets implementation and monitoring units. How effective have they been over the years? Because from your statement, this is what they should do.
This is what it is. And you see, kudos to at the federal level, yes. Have you noticed? But you see, the weak link has always been at the state end of the thing. Do you know how difficult it is to get, the concise budget of states? It's so difficult. In fact, this thing has been on for more than 15 years. I recall, working with CESLAC, that is a civil legislative advocacy, whatever. By, I think the then director was Alwar Rafsanjani, in Abuja, and it was one of the major problem with the budgetary process. You understand? Where 70, where in terms of budget tracking and things like that, was 70% at the federal level. At the state level, it was almost subpar, 30%, 25%, and some as low as 5% across the state. So, most of these projects we are talking about are going to be happening in states, not at the center. So, at what level does the state meet with the federal government so that we can have this, concise, well-connected budgetary process where at the level you see federal government doing its own, then the states, looping into it and, getting the benefit of it. We don't have it. That is another problem,
Well, the PDP is reacting big to this one. They said the budget is unrealistic and it is anti-people. Did you expect that?
Of course, when they were empowered to, that was what oppositions were always saying about them. So it's just a swapping of,
should that really be the way we play, opposition in the country? Be it any political party being in opposition, because this is a budget that. Do you think they have scrutinized, this budget properly well before the budget was just yesterday, and then there's a statement out today? How sure are they that this is very unrealistic when it has not been subjected to tests and performance?
No. You see, even from the summary, the federal government is quiet on what is capital expenditure, what percentage is capital expenditure and recurrent expenditure. They mentioned that there. So on the basis of that, then of course in the area of the deficit, it leaves a lot of speculation. I expected the federal government to explain why there is that huge deficit, 13% or so, thereabout, So, and they are saying that, look, you proposed a tax bill, that has been raising a lot of the hoopla all over the places. You understand? And your projected certain revenue, and they saw the stream of revenue and said that there is no way it can meet up with what you are asking for. So definitely, the permutation will be that you are going to get it from tax. And when you get it from tax, especially in a distressed economy like Nigeria, people will suffer. That is the thing. So it is more of a projection. That is what I expect an opposition to do. On that score, they are absolutely right. They can't make that preliminary. So it is now left for federal government to assuage such fears, because it's not just about PDP. PDP has only said one aspect of the budget that is concerned. You understand? So let's hear federal government's explanation, because they have the entire package. The entire package is not yet on my table, so I can see that people like Budget are currently doing a lot of they are doing a lot of analysis on it, and in the days ahead you are going to be seeing them. So that is it. Then again, you must equally know too that for Nigerians, we are largely fiscally, financially illiterate. That is the honest truth. And this is not about going to school. It's not about going to school. So it's about, there was this, the other day we were talking about arithmophobia, numerophobia, and things like that. Unwittingly, most Nigerians fear of numbers. You understand? Because the moment you see 2, 3, 3, 3, 3 about the zeros up to 6, most Nigerians get afraid. And this concept of the moment you don't know math, they call you Olodo. You understand? So that social stigma, makes people, it's an innate, so people don't want to talk about those figures. But you see, these are some of the things that I think we need to confront frontally, and that is what PDP is trying to help us do.
All right, let's move away from that and touch on this story that's, very important to Nigerians as well. Apparently, CBN sets daily withdrawal limit of 100,000 naira on POS per customer. So one person is only able to withdraw 100,000 naira from a POS stand per day. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I even think at 100,000 is way too much. Yeah. Because, you see, look at it. You see, we are talking of financial security. You understand? And we are trying to discourage a lot of cash carrying. You understand? So when one person is able to withdraw 100,000, it's still humongous for an individual, especially on, that is, at the roadside, you can withdraw 100,000 naira. You understand? The risk to that person, that POS person, is high. It could be attacked. You understand? Then, of course, where you are trying to do a lot of monetary tracking, especially in the area of money laundering. Of course, what money laundering is about, money is where you don't know the source, being filtered, that is being washed into the economy. That is what money laundering is. So all those things is a way of trying to regulate them so that there will be lesser movement of cash. When there is lesser and better tracking of cash, you are able to reduce money laundering. You are able to capture you are able to know the amount of currency that is in the economy. That is why there are so many glitches in our economy. You can't make a direct projection and you meet it as you have projected it. So the moment you have a lot of glitches like that, where you can't even determine how much of your naira is in circulation, it becomes a problem for CBN. It becomes a problem for planners.
Nicholas, you'll agree with me that we still have a very, very huge number of unbanked people in the country. Now, look at the banked people, and then with this, policy from the CBN, will it not put a lot of emotional stress on the people at the moment, especially this period? Again, as the concerned Nigerian for a lay Nigerian.
Yeah, while you're absolutely right, you might be very, very right that there might be a lot of stress involved, because you see, the Nigerian system is such that when we bring about reforms, we constrict the process in such a way that allows people to exploit it. That has always been our problem. It's not, the policy in itself to get more people to be banked is a very good one. But if the process had been very loose, very easy, there wouldn't have been any issue at all. But yes, you are right, because having all those old women to go and file in the bank, go to some of these banks and see how people queue in the sun. You understand? It's going to be then. Of course, what of the rural area? Have you noticed that there are no banks in the rural area anymore because of banditry, because of insecurity? So if you want to bank now, you have to come to town. Microfinance bank don't even go to rural areas. They don't. Because it's still concentrated. So you see, most times we tend to put the cart before the horse. That is one major problem we need to really work on in this country, honestly.
Okay.
Well, because of time, we may not be able to go further with the conversation, but we'll definitely pick it up from here tomorrow and run with it. We want to thank you, Nicholas Nwarunoye, for coming and sharing your wealth of knowledge this morning on some trending national issue. At least it's put us in a better, position to understand what the situation of things are really in the country. Thank you very much, Nicholas. Views expressed on the program is not the position of Flu FM 92.7, but solely expressed by Nicholas Nwarunoye. My name is Adedayo Adeyemi. Thank you for listening.
And I'm Danielle Shitta-Bey. Thank you for joining us as well.
Everybody suppose chop early momo wakis. My brother suppose get all the